6:39. Before we do Fox Business, David is back. He had a bad line, and we've got him back here. David, you're on now.
Hi again, everybody. Sorry about that. I live under a cell tower. You think I'd have better service?
Yeah. Well, you're good and clear now. So.
The point I was trying to make before was that the everything that I've read is the weapon actually haven't been identified, but there is some saying that it's made by a manufacturer called Sig Sauer.
Okay.
And it is hopefully Remington, will not be, vilified again for making a perfectly legal commodity, but it looks almost identical. It's the same type of platform. Uses the same type of round, but it's a black scary gun. There's millions of them that don't kill people, every single day.
Well, and there's I have somebody that really gave me a bit of a lesson. I'm not sure how much I remember, but in reality, there are many more powerful weapons that can do much more, but they look like hunting guns. They don't look like an assault, quote unquote, assault rifle. So this is it's all based on how it's designed to look, not necessarily on its performance.
Well, and and everybody wants to talk about racism. You can think of it as gun racism. I mean, they're making assumptions about something that they know nothing about, based upon looks. So, it's unfortunately, it's the liberal progressive media is trying to just scare people away, and they're using it as a wedge to try to take away constitutional rights.
I'm not trying to take the side of the media, but I don't know that it's all I don't know that it's all the media, because it's your politicians that are going to jump on this. Look what Cuomo did after Newtown. He completely used that as an excuse to pass the SAFE Act. And I think that I really think and not to mention the population. There's a large population that doesn't care about guns in this country. Right. And they deal with it. They don't. But it's stories like these that rile everybody up. And as a gun owner and somebody who supports the Second Amendment, it scares me. It just scares me.
It should scare everybody. And I made a comment. I was at one of the rallies in Albany a year or so ago when the SAFE Act, and Jolene Ferris asked me. She goes, "Why are you here?" I said, "Well, Jolene, because if they take away this right," I said, "the next right that they're going to take away is the freedom of speech and the freedom of the press, and that'll affect you." So it's one right at a time. Yeah. That they do. So,
well, here's something, David, I want to throw at you now, because you're hearing Trump come out and say we've got to watch this community. How did this guy get a gun? And we're all asking that question. How did this guy get a gun? Well, the problem is he was not a criminal. There was nothing to prevent him from legally buying a gun. And if you try to take his right away, it's taking your right as well.
Yep, it is a slippery slope, and unfortunately, there's got to be other ways to do it. If he was actually the wife beater that his ex reports him to be, and if he had other issues like this, if actually somebody actually reported him, then he would have lost his right to purchase firearms.
Right.
They unfortunately, his family did the community in general a disservice by not alerting people that he had issues.
Yeah, and we saw this after the SAFE Act about, we're going to go after the mentally insane. Those people that are mentally disturbed shouldn't get guns. The problem is the fear is, well, who's to say that, the government doesn't think I'm mentally, I have a mental issue and shouldn't have a gun. I mean, where do you draw the line? And there's where the debate comes in.
Right, and I don't think that if they had reported the fact that he was suspicious, he wouldn't have been able to get a gun, because the truth of the matter is, just by being suspicious, you're not doing anything illegal. So maybe they would have watched him more.
There's a difference between suspicion and an actual, domestic abuse. If you are on record as a domestic abuser, you can't purchase a firearm in the country.
Even in the country, is that true? I know in New York,
it's a federal.
It is federal. All right.
Well, I don't know that he was convicted of that.
No, he wasn't. Well, what he's saying is, had this really happened? Remember, the guy's dead and the wife is talking. We don't know if it is completely true, but if it did happen, he beat her repeatedly, as she claims. Had she reported it and he was arrested, what you're saying, David, is that would have meant that he couldn't have bought a gun. He couldn't have purchased a gun legally.
he would have been flagged for a nix and won it. But that doesn't mean he couldn't have gone down to any neighborhood in probably Orlando or, for that matter, down at Cornhill and purchased a firearm, on the black market.
Yep.
You can get an order of protection.
All right, David, thanks.
You can get an order of protection against someone, and it really means nothing. That person can still, they might be flagged.
I love the order. The order of protection is one of my favorite things in the world.
It does nothing unless you're hurt.
Right. The only thing it does is gives authorities afterwards the opportunity to throw a few other charges at you. But an order of protection is not the wall that Donald Trump is trying to build.
Right.
I think all that is moot. This guy was talked to 3 times by the FBI and was still allowed to get a gun. I think that's the major issue here.
But if he was found, here's the problem, and this really is what we're just talking about with David. If he was found to be, if the charges or the suspicion against him was found to be was unfounded, what legal right do we have to prevent him from buying a gun?
Why couldn't it be treated like a don't-fly list?
But what the FBI is saying is that it was unfounded. There was nothing there. It was reported. They investigated twice, but nothing was there. So at what point do we place someone because next it's going to be the guy who's living in the woods and one of these survivalists, and he hates the Democrats, and well, maybe he could attack at some time. So we're going to limit his rights to have a gun. Therein lies the problem with us. We're a free society, so the rights that protect us also protect this guy.
I would say we're a fairly stupid society. If you have a guy, with all due respect, who's saying he's ISIS, communicating with a suicide bomber across...
Well, that's something, right, that we are not doing a very good job on following social media, and because all of these cases...
we don't want people to follow social media, right?
But then all of us, you're right. Then we're like, well, I don't want you following me. I don't want you searching my information.
You're invading my privacy.
You're invading my privacy. The NSA shouldn't be able to do this. So listen, what do we want? I think we have to make up our mind. What rights are we willing to give up to be safe versus completely free? And I'm not sure how much I'm willing to give up. Let's do Fox Business News. We'll talk more about this. It is 6:46 at WIBX.